I'm going to get the stream started. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever or wherever it is that you are watching this today. Welcome along. I have a wonderful guest today. I've got on the show Keith Atherton. I'm going to bring him on in a moment and he'll introduce himself to you all. So please do enjoy. Keith, you're live. Please introduce yourself to the world at large.
Hi, folks. Yeah, thanks so much for having me on the show. I've been a big fan, and we were just mentioning there, this is episode 10, double digits, so congratulations on that.
That's Thank you very much. 10, although some will note there's one missing in all of that, but I'm going to get him back at some point because I didn't go live accidentally, but 10 I have certainly streamed.
Some secret bonus episode that will make it at some point, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, thanks for having me on. My name's Keith Atherton. I'm a Power Platform solution architect. And yeah, I've been working with the platform for over the last 3 years, but I've been a consultant working in development, internal as well as consultancies for 25 years now. Get to some community shenanigans now and again. So I'm speaking at a few events this year. Luckily, got European BizApps Summit later this month in Germany. And European Power Platform Conference in Vienna in June as well. Also run a user group as well, the Power Platform Community High Five with Sarah Jones. Got my teeth back in there. I also enjoy helping on the blogs. You know, I'm lucky enough to be a super user with that as well. And I enjoy training and helping people as well when I get a chance as well. So cool. Yeah, fairly active.
You are very in the community. I have to say your name and your face has popped up all over the place. So I've been around the community for going on probably 6 years now, thereabouts. But not really active, very much more kind of watching from afar in many ways. But certainly in the last few months, I've been getting a lot more active because I've just been wanting to. This year, I've been trying to push a bit more and just get a bit more out there and just learn more as well. It's amazing how much I learn even just from following people on LinkedIn and some of the stuff that comes up. A slight aside, because just the other day I saw the thing about hiding choice values. Didn't even know that was an option. I need to be on top of the release wave because I've let that slide for the last few years, if I'm truly honest. So I need to be more on top of that. But again, someone posted about it, saw the little video, I was like, that's so useful. And it's amazing those little things that you pick up. I was talking to someone else about this recently, where reading the release waves are tricky because there's so much information in there, and it's very easy to miss something unless it's been a pain point. And that hidden value is a massive pain point that we've all met at some point in our migrations and support of these systems.
Yeah, totally agree. It's similar for me. There's so many people, like say, whether it's a LinkedIn carousel or a cheat sheet or a link to their video. Like say, I saw the same one. I think I saw a couple of people post about that. Yep. And I know what you mean with the release waves. I kind of have this thing where sometimes I'm just faced with so many things to deal with. I'm like, I don't have time to go through that right now. Some sessions I've seen before, like Sam Hillier and a few other people have done really good user group sessions where they'll actually walk through, okay, this was the last release wave within this 45-minute session, and here's kind of 2 or 3 highlights from it, and drills down a bit deep or gives us a bit of a demo. Yeah. And I find that can be quite a digestible way to see them. But yeah, so much great community content out there for sure.
So yeah, what I was getting to there with the, so 6 years or so I've been involved in community, and I've seen your name and face around a lot. We met certainly at Spug because you, like myself, are Scottish based. So we are in, I certainly may not sound it, but I definitely am in Scotland. Um,
Same here.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we go to the Scottish Power Platform user group. I get to it whenever I can, and I've also been to the High Five community event that you do run. I've been to one, but that one's a little harder because of the timing for myself. Just because family life, what ends up happening is when I do attend, I'm often attending while I'm still feeding my son or working, like playing with him. So it's a little harder to get
Fair enough.
involved in, but it is a good community. I quite like that one and the atmosphere around it. So talk to me a little bit about your community background. How did you get into it? So you've been doing the Power Platform for 3 years, you're saying, but you've been in tech essentially for 25 years. What's your way into community then?
Yeah, it's been an interesting one really because yeah, like you say, just over 3 years with Power Platform, but as in full-time, full-on Power Platform.
Hmm.
And it's been a steep learning curve, but so much of that pro dev, pro code background that I have just kind of transferred across, whether it's, creating the data models or the front ends, or just the way you'd run a project or agile processes. It pretty much all just kind of mapped across, but just with a different toolbox.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I saw it. But it was kind of interesting. I think it was just before then. Let's see, what is it now? So maybe 4 years ago. Maybe that's when my community journey started. Yeah, just under four. I think was I was moving from lots of .NET and lots of pro dev, but I kind of wanted to modernize the skills and get some more cloud-based skills. So the first place I looked was really with Azure. So I took AZ 900, took the exam, started to learn it. I couldn't really implement it in the day job that I had. I was trying to, but I thought, well, I'll maybe do some side projects and play with these newer tools
Hmm.
because Azure's 15 years old right now, just had its birthday. But I kind of wanted to play with these toys a bit more. I think it was Project Red Dog, it was called back in the day. So I kind of wanted to play with them and figured, look, I'll try and use them in the day job. If I don't get a chance, maybe in future I'll get a few years in, maybe find a job where I can use them. Really wanted to use more modern tech. So one thing I did was I wasn't doing any community work by then. I maybe went to a couple of tech meetups, a year or something for the few years preceding it. I didn't really contribute. I didn't speak. I didn't present. But one of the reasons was because using this kind of more legacy, the older tech, I didn't really have anything to talk about. And it just wasn't really on my radar either. But I did see a few good presentations in these meetups, and some of them are good. Some of them, didn't quite capture my interest too much, but some of them did. And one of them was really good by someone called Pete Gallagher, who works, he's Microsoft MVP. He's really doing some really cool stuff with IoT and Azure as well.
Cool.
And he did a really good session, and it was kind of a good mix of things. He's a really engaging speaker. He's got lots of energy. He's getting people involved, and he kind of 3D printed this robotic arm, wrote a web app with some kind of like real-time communication with Signal R,
Nice.
and was controlling it with a web app, and it was awesome. It's like you could see it move around and everything. It's like, oh, that's cool.
That is
That's
cool.
awesome. And it kind of inspired me. I thought, oh, that's really cool. I enjoyed that. I thought, well, I like training and teaching people. I've done bits in jobs. It's like, could I do that?
Mm.
So I kind of dared myself to maybe build up to do a session. So the way I started is there was a few events around at the time that I was aware of. One of them was the Festive Tech Calendar, ran by
Yes.
Gregor Suttie
Yeah.
and Richard Hooper. Really cool event. In fact, I've been lucky enough the last few years to become a volunteer of that, and kind of help out in some small way every year. But I noticed with those, it was pre-recorded videos or blog posts, and you submit them. So it's not in front of an audience. It's
Yeah.
not people asking big questions. So I thought, maybe that's kind of dip my toe in the water. I'll try that. So submitted a session, got accepted, and put together a fairly short video for something there. But the way I started at the time was with Azure. That was the new thing I was learning,
Mhm.
and I really liked AI. So it's Azure Bots. I was doing the Azure Bot service and something they had called Q&A Maker at the time. It's been absorbed since into some Azure Cognitive Services or ACS. But yeah, I was kind of playing around with these new toys, but I was quite open as well in the session that, hey, look, I'm new to this, so just find this cool thing, a bit like the disabling choice fields or
Yeah.
whatever. I say, hey, check out this cool thing, right? So I kind of did a demo of that, kind of walked through the process of building one, publishing it, and it really just led from there. I kind of got a taste for it, started to present at some user groups, some live events. Then it became bigger events. Then lucky enough to be some conferences in recent times, and I've just kind of built on that part. So the speaking's probably been the first bit,
Hmm.
and then along the way I've picked up other things like writing the odd blog post or helping on forums, again directly helping people, which I love to do as well.
Cool.
So yeah, it's been quite a journey.
That is, that's, it's, I love that. So the forums, that's an interesting one. So it's not come up yet, talking to people. So far, most of the people I've spoken to, it's been user groups, conferences, that kind of thing. But the forums is one of those ones that they haven't mentioned much of. So do you put in like, because there's a lot on there. I've looked in the forums before and I've tried to help. And what I find is that it's so quick and easy to get frustrated trying to help because you want to help and you're reading that they've got a problem, but you're like, I need more information. Give me more information. And then no one comes back to you. Or maybe they do come back to you, but it's still not enough. And it's this back and forth that it's so slow. So how do you manage the forum side of things? Do you set aside like time every day to do it? Or what's your approach to it?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of just a little bit of time every week. I used when I started, it was every day, and it was kind of like my Wordle for the day. It's kind of my fun little puzzle to solve. And I think just as I've gotten busier or busier jobs or busier in consulting, I've kind of done it maybe 3 times a week instead of every day, and then it became twice a week, and now it's probably once or twice a week or something. If I can get half an hour here, half an hour there. Um, and it's yeah, I find the same, and I know speaking to many other people who help out in the forums, people like Thomas Rice and Warren Bells and Marcus Franz, so many cool people help people on the forums, and we often get our pain points, just as you say, which is, hey, if we just had that bit more info, or if we just had a screenshot, or as problem solvers, you might get this too, where you're thinking, well, here's the first 2 or 3 more obvious to us things that I would try
Yeah.
to rule them out before I'm really deep diving into the troubleshooting.
Yeah.
And you really want to sort of confirm those quick, like, let's get those out of the way. Oh no, that's the one that worked. Okay, got it. Okay, great. And that's always a nice feeling. They come back and say thank you or mark it as solved,
Yeah.
because then it's helped.
Yeah.
You've got closure yourself. That has been the issue with it. So yeah, it's kind of I think getting enough information, as you say, that can be a tough one. Sometimes it could just be communication as well. Like say the way they're wording it, or maybe I would too. Is it a bit ambiguous, or it's not very specific, or maybe gone around in circles just to try and rule something out as well. So I think you're right. A big challenge of that is the communication back and forth to get that part right before we really get to the more fun part might be me spinning up like a sandbox canvas app and trying that Power Effects snippet to get that to work, and then sending it over the wall to them and say, okay, try this. Does that work? But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a direct way of helping people and problem solving at the same time. So yeah, I love doing it.
It's one of the things I really enjoy doing as well, solving problems. And I really should spend more time in there trying to do that. I have done it before, and I've had a few moments where I've solved someone's problem by doing that. And I've even through doing that, they say to really get good at something, to really know a subject in depth, you need to teach it. And I would argue that yes, teaching is an important thing, but solving problems is an element of teaching too, because you have to walk someone through, well, what is it they're trying to do. You have to logically think, well, what are they trying to say here? And as you say, you've got to give them enough information to potentially solve their own problem based on what you think they're asking, because that asynchronous nature of forums, it's back and forth. You may not get back to them. You may not have a chance. Someone else might get back to it. It might be a few days before they come back, and maybe you're on holiday. So I find what I've done in the past, and I do this internally as well at work. Someone sends a message on Teams or on the forum, and they say, "Oh, we're having a problem with this, this, and this," and then I will respond with, "Well, I think this is what you're saying. Based on what you're saying, I think it's in this sort of area. These are the things I would consider looking at." And it is fun. It is as you say, it's a mental exercise. It's just for me, it's building the routine and to do it. I think that's it. It needs to become a muscle to do it regularly. I think it's the only way that it makes sense to do that. Yeah, you've convinced me. I'm going to do that now. I'm going to set aside at least half an hour every day and go through the top unanswered questions and just because that's the thing. That's the other thing I've noticed when I go to the forums. Sometimes I'm in the middle of trying to answer something, and by the time I go to post, someone has already posted. Ah, that
Yeah,
could be infuriating because I've just spent half an hour trying to do it in my sandbox, as you say, and then it's like, someone's already got me to it.
that's definitely definitely caught me out before as well. I've definitely had the same. Yeah.
So yeah, so that was attending, that was helping out. So the high five community, where did that come about? How did that happen? What's the origin story there?
Yeah, that's it's kind of been one of my favorite recent things in the community work because, as you say, thanks for coming along as well. I know many of us do, or they might watch it on YouTube on the playback if they can't make it live as
Yeah.
well. But really, that came about because, well, me and Sarah, excuse me. So yeah, me and Sarah Jones have known each other for a while. So Sarah's a brilliant recruiter in the space. Um, Always been someone I've been able to ask for advice, and we've gotten on well. And many of us in the community, Sarah, and many others in that space. And Sarah and we've gone to many different user groups. Again, we talked about Spug earlier, so Scottish Power Platform user group. I've attended a few, lucky enough to be one of the organisers for a few of the events, and then took a breather, took a break after that, and then they're still going strong, and I will support them when I can. And Sarah also used to run some kind of like user group sessions, like virtual ones online as well, and did that for a while and then took a break. But we talked ourselves about, hey, how about we start something together. It'll be virtual, maybe once a month. If it's virtual, we can get speakers from anywhere in the world, timing permitting, of course. We can get people to attend from anywhere in the world. And again, if we upload them to YouTube, people can play them back, or hey, I wasn't around at the time, I was on vacation, holiday, I can go back and watch them. So we love the Power Platform community. We know there's a lot of great people. So we thought we'd focus it again in the tech stack that we know and love as
Mhm.
well. And so, yeah, we talked about it for a good few months and planned when would we run it, how many sessions would we have to kind of get a format. And then when we started this year, actually, me and Sarah did something a bit bonkers because we decided to start in January. Yeah, it was the first week in January. So we're aiming typically for the first Tuesday of every month, but we both started new jobs in that week as well at the same time. And I think it was one of those, it was a good idea at the time. And actually went really smooth. It was great. It was a really good event. I think we had like, nearly 50 people turn up for the first event, loads of people promoting and supporting us, which was awesome. But I think it was that week, it was just this crazy week, crazy week of everything going on. And yeah, we've managed to kind of have sessions booked. We typically have two on for each
Mhm.
event, and we've even got a schedule that's booked up until I believe it's October this year
Wow,
already.
nice.
Yeah, I know it's a funny thing when other people say, "Hey, can I speak?" I'm like, "Yeah, how does November sound though?" It's a, if that's yeah, if it's too late, just say we'll catch up near the time. But it's tricky making that work because of the popularity, but the first world problem we've got with
Mhm.
this. But yeah, we've been loving it, building on it. We've got over 700 followers on LinkedIn, which has just kind of gone through really fast. In fact, within the Power Platform community, they do have um, these user group kind of community calls now and again, I should say. And recently, we were shortlisted for one of the awards, which I think it was
Nice.
the new user group with numbers of followers or following or something along those lines anyway. So we didn't win the award in the end, but it was just great to be nominated and that we're getting that kind of traction already. So
Wow.
yeah, it's going really well.
Really impressive. I'm gonna have to learn from you guys and get some tips on how to get this out there. Um, at the moment, I'm not pushing too hard on this. I just enjoy the chatting. It is a different thing as well because the user groups, there's a lot more effort involved in user groups because there's a lot more moving parts. And I think that the thing that stands out with what you're doing, you've got two very enthusiastic people that are actively pushing it, and that shows. I mean, the event I've attended, it was smooth and excellent. And you're obviously you've got the right connections to bring in the right sort of people to keep it going. And the fact that you're booked out to October, I mean, that's just testament to it. So well done. Very good.
Thank you.
Excellent work.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. It's I think because we enjoy it and we've got the vibe where other people then get enthusiastic and enjoy it themselves, that we're just all in it together and we have a good positive vibe during the calls, and it's not kind of formal lectures, it's not boring. What you do really well, like a nice informal natural chat with someone. We kind of try and do that rather than next up, here's your agenda and here's fixed times and we're very strict. We just like, no, go for it. If you talk finishes quick, it's fine. Or you need it to finish quick because you've got to do a school pickup, it's fine, go for it, do what you got to do. So we just try and be flexible and relaxed and just enjoy it, and hopefully everyone else does.
Yeah. Cool. Excellent. In terms of the difference between an in-person user group and a virtual user group, how do you find that? Because I know you've attended multiple in-person ones and obviously running the virtual one. So what do you feel sort of pros and cons of the two? How do you find the differences?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, when I was an organizer at Spug, one of the cool things we did was an in-person event at the Everyman Cinema in Glasgow.
Nice.
So we've got this really cool venue. We've got all the tiered seats going all the way back. We're using kind of the cinema screen with the projector to put the sessions up there. So, we could have food. There was a bar outside and food. So we could have that for the break between some of the sessions, like an interval. So it's kind of like we're all there together, and, there's a lot to be said for, seeing people in person, getting that connection, getting the bond, or sticking around afterwards. Hey, someone's going to go for a drink or go for food. And you can make those kind of other kind of connections. So in person's got all those really cool things going for it. And again, trying different venues here and there, seeing different places, or it's being hosted in a company's office or a cool venue like the Everyman Cinema. So something that is really like that is, really, really cool. And again, I think some of the pros with the virtual ones anyway, again, we can have people from all over the world attend and speak at it. So, recently, I think on the High Fives, we had Nathan Rose in New Zealand join us at crazy o'clock in the morning, but bless him, he joined us and that was awesome. And we had Sean Astrahan at the same call, who's in the US, and people from all over the UK, throughout Europe, including my friend Marcus, who joined from Austria, and we're all on that same call all at the same time. Different times of day for all of us. Some of us it might be in the workday, for us it's just after the workday finishes. But it was great that we could all connect. So no clear winner, but I think they've both got the positives, and for us it's about connecting as much of the community as we possibly can. We felt virtual was a good fit for that.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I think you've summed it up perfectly. I think the in-person is nice. There's a lot to be said for that from a networking and just social aspect, and being out there, exactly as you say, different venues, different experiences. But the thing that I found, the biggest thing I found between the two in terms of just attending them, because I think the pros and cons, I think you've summed up nicely. The main pro for virtual is the fact you can draw anyone from everywhere. So you can get a certain caliber there that you might not be able to get up in Aberdeen in Scotland or down some middle of nowhere in England, or it would be much trickier if it wasn't virtual. But the thing you get in person that you don't get with virtual is the space, because that I didn't understand that until we did virtual pubs during lockdown. That was really at a certain size of attendees, you can manage it. It's fine. And I'm talking like between 5 and maybe 10 people, and it's fine. The second you start getting over that, it's just the loudest wins, and it becomes so difficult because there's no space to hide. You can't go off and talk to 2 people in a quieter area. Whereas when you're in person in a venue, you can go off into a corner. You can speak to people in more detail. You can have individual chats. And I know you've got like the meeting room type things in Zoom, so in theory you could, but they're much more formal, like training sort of sessions. So that's the thing I found you miss with virtual. But the thing that you gain really, that if it's about the knowledge, attending and learning from someone, virtual or in person, I don't think there's any real difference. Actually, being able to learn from someone in person, like from a presentation, I don't think it really matters so much. It's that ability to speak to people that makes the difference. But again, it's swings and roundabouts. Both are good. I think it's good to have both. And I like the fact that there's more virtual ones happening. That's good because there wasn't for a while. There wasn't, and I I was part of a group that tried to start it a few years back. So the virtual power group we called ourselves VPG. Um,
Oh,
yeah, it
cool.
was Claire,
Yeah.
myself, Paddy, and David up here in Scotland. And we built this because the idea was we wanted to do a virtual one. It was just off of COVID. Actually, it might start during COVID. But there wasn't anything like that. And we wanted to do something like that because we wanted a virtual, because we all had families, we all had busy lives. So we found that we weren't able to go traveling to in-person user groups, but we still wanted that experience. So we started that and we ran a few and it was good and it was a good experience. But even in a virtual world, it takes its toll in organizing these things.
It
It really
does.
does.
Or the
Yeah,
planning.
it's the planning, it's the social
Yeah.
media, it's getting out there. And I think that's probably what you guys are doing much better. You both are actively out there communicating and sharing it with the world. We struggled. Like I don't think any of us really enjoyed that part at all. And so it just became a chore. Whereas
Yeah.
I get the feeling you and Sarah are certainly a lot better at the social media and the communication part than we ever were.
It's an interesting one. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's I think even from the first event, we kind of hit our stride and got a good kind of working routine. And I think the great thing with me and Sarah, we get on really, really well, but we've both got different
Mhm.
strengths. So, and as we've gone along, we've played more and more to the strengths. So instead of us both cover both of the jobs and try and do it evenly, it's become apparent that Sarah's got a much bigger following than me online. She's great on the social media. Her strength, creating those posts, making them creative. We both chip in for both. We both do our own kind of posts on this and do page posts and things. But really, Sarah's kind of led the way on that, and it's doing a great job. And then for me, it might be more on the organizing side and the creating the accounts for us to do the socials or the structure of what the schedule looks like or whatever it may be. We've kind of sort of fell into the places that we both enjoy the most, but we both kind of probably are stronger at
Yeah.
separately, but we both connect well. And I think one thing we've really wanted to do as well, that the kind of like the vision that we've had for this is a diversity of speakers as
Mm.
well. So we don't get formulaic and say, okay, one male, one female, or anything like that. But sometimes it's an all-female cast or all-male cast or a mix, or people from, like you say, connecting in from abroad or people in the UK. And that, again, it's just naturally fell into place of what we'd aimed for with this. And that's one thing that we bear in mind when we build the schedule as well. We do want that diversity and that it's going to be inclusive of lots of different
Yeah.
people as well. But yeah, as you say, I totally agree. Like being able to learn from in person or virtual, I totally learn on both. If you can't make them, any recordings could be useful as
Yeah.
well. Um, I think as well, one thing that I've learned from the other side as a presenter as well is that I started doing my community work, as I mentioned, like during the pandemic. And when I was doing like an online, a virtual user group, I would actually struggle when everyone turned the cameras off and I'm kind of just speaking at the
Yeah.
screen, not knowing the
Yeah.
reaction or what people thought about it. I was like, is this going down like a lead
Yeah.
balloon? Is it okay? So in person, you're always going to get that really good feedback, or I've got a question, or people, chatting away, or you can see
Mhm.
them, active listening. One thing we've tried to do, and I don't think we've consciously done this, but me and Sarah tend to always keep our cameras on when possible. We encourage others to, and we always have a very active chat. And we're joking, or there's memes,
Yeah.
or comments, or people are raising questions about the content. So we're trying to keep that buzz as if we were in person, but we know we can only take that as far as we can.
Yeah. No, that is a very good point because I've faced that both presenting into the black screen, so to speak, but also in doing the app in a day presenting. So I've done a few of
Mm-hmm.
those in the past. At one point, I was doing them every month for my one of my previous jobs, and I really love doing them. But at the same time, you do know you're sitting there, you got 30, 40, it could be 50 people, no engagement whatsoever. And I've just kind of
Yeah.
got to the point where I'm pretty good at just talking to the screen. I put in my jokes, I try to engage, and if someone chuckles, if someone mentions something, great. But if they don't, I just keep going with the patter. But it is a skill. It is something you have to learn because it is so different. And I mean, that on the flip side as well, it can be quite a good thing. It just depends on what kind of a speaker you are. Like some people fall apart as soon as they see a face in front of them because they haven't quite
Yeah,
built up that experience of doing that, and it is nerve wracking. Uh, so
it is.
yeah.
It is. It's funny because that reminds me, again, the first session I did was the Festive Tech Calendar, fire and forget. Recorded a video, you know, 20 take. I don't know what I did. It was too many takes. It was ridiculous until I got the one I was happy with. And again, that was another positive as well of that experience of like I could refine it, probably too much, but refine it to the point I'm as happy as I can be with this now. Where if I did it live and fumbled words or muck things up, is that just adding pressure to myself because I was new to that? But the first one I did was for the Glasgow Azure user group. That was virtual at the time during the pandemic. And again, that was my first live session, if you like. I was like, oh, okay, what's going to happen here? In this room, first ever one, it was in December. I remember that. It's really dark outside. It was in the evening on a Wednesday or whenever they held it. And there was a speaker on first. I think it was Anthony Mashford. But anyway, it's a really good speaker anyway. I was like, oh, I've got to follow this. Great. Okay. More pressure. Great speaker in front of me. Right. Okay. And then I was getting ready, and I could see it was kind of getting towards, winding down their session. And this light bulb went out and the room went dark. I was like, oh, come on. So running, all right, I'm kind of judging it. Okay, they're not ready for me yet. It'd be weird if I was sitting here in the dark, just lit by the screen.
That'd be
Okay,
awesome. You should definitely do that.
Yeah. It'd go viral or something.
A torch underneath your chin.
Yeah. This is a demonic presentation now. It's like a horror film or something.
I love it.
So I was like, okay, it's not the vibe I want to give, right? So what do? Running down the stairs, going through the cupboards, trying to find the spare bulbs. Up here, sort of leaning up, plugged it in, pretty much sat in the chair. And it wasn't long after, I don't know, it was less than a minute after, like, right, we're going to pass over to Keith now. And Keith's going to calm and collected. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Very well done.
We put together, yeah. Necessity, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for that when it comes to presenting and just, it's amazing how much can go wrong and how quickly you scramble and how panicked you are before a presentation or before an event or anything, and it's just like, what's happened? And then you just have to put the calm face on and go out and keep calm, carry
compose.
On.
Absolutely. So I kind of got away with that. Maybe it was enough of a distraction for maybe not to overthink the session. Who knows? But either way, I kind of dealt with that crisis. And then the talk was simple after dealing with that. So it was all fine.
There is a lot to be said for that as well. Yeah, there was a app in a day I did once where something happened with the Teams event and it just wasn't working properly. And we couldn't communicate with anyone. It just wasn't working. So I had to scramble to basically get all the emails for the registered people, send an email to them with a different link entirely to go to a different meeting. And once we managed to get everyone through, which we did eventually, because it just sheer panic got me all those emails out, got it done, and eventually we got in there. And then once they were all settled, like you say, everything else is just easier because you've had such a bad thing. Everything else just seemed to go a little bit more smoothly.
That's it. Yeah. Even the psychology, the bad stuff's out of the way. This is all smooth now.
Yeah, you definitely don't want it to happen every time, but
yeah. I just need something to go on fire 10 minutes before I present. Come on, guys. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Oh, cool. So, community presenting, you're out doing that. You're a solution architect. What do you do outside of all that time? Do you have time for anything else outside of all of that stuff?
Yeah, I must admit, I'm trying to get better at that these days. I think I go through, phases. So I said a similar thing last year, where, before, let me see, it was last January. I did a session about getting involved in the community and kind of, jokingly setting your New Year's tech resolutions. If you want to get to community or you want to find a new job or modernize your skills, some of the things I've done, I'll share them. Here's what you can do. And some of those can go hand in hand. Doing community work might build your brand if you want to go contracting or freelance or find a new job. It can kind of self-fulfill what you're part of the same ecosystem. But what I did previous to that was it was a very busy year. I was lucky enough to, get some success with a career, but I found that I took on too many community things. I got really, really busy. So it was one of those things where I had to dial a few things back. It's one of the reasons why I took a step back from being an organizer at Spug as well, actually, talking of that. And it was tough because I love doing that. I love, Stuart and Charlie and the team that work on that. That was actually really tough to say no, but I knew I only had so much capacity. So I kind of dialed things back, got a healthy balance. And then after a while, kind of got busy and kind of gone towards getting too busy again. Like, oh, okay, I'm doing it again. I need to go take the step back. So I'm doing that at the moment. Some things that I love doing is I do try and get a bit of exercise, go for walks, do things that are quite active because I'm aware it's quite a sedentary job. I'm sitting at a desk every day, and when I'm doing community work or use virtual user groups, that's at this desk as well. So I do try and get out and about. I'm pretty social as well, so I'm pretty, and that works well with the conferences, user groups, and events. Is I'm meeting up with my friends, so it's great. But besides that, I do like to be quite creative. So I do like painting and drawing.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of been, yeah, it's kind of gone a little slower in recent times. But every time I do it, I really love doing it. So I kind of want to make a bit more time and get into that again. So I'm doing bits and pieces here and there. I did a bit of drawing for my nephew and a few cartoons for my nephew when I saw him at the weekend. So I kind of want to get a good habit and get into that. And a bit like the forums we talked about, get into some kind of reserve time every week. Even if it's Sunday for an hour or something, it's just kind of build that habit back up. Because I used to paint every week. I used to be quite good at one point, believe it or not, and sold a couple of paintings and things over the years and stuff. So yeah, if I could get back into the enjoyment rather than that peak level, that would be great.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm working on it.
What's your medium of choice? Is it sort of acrylics, oil? What do you paint in?
Yeah, so a bit of a mix, but acrylics is pretty much the first choice for me. One, it's kind of something I've used for years. I've really enjoyed. I do like the quick drying times on it as well because I can get a little impatient. So if I can work while it's still wet or use mediums, do what I need, but I can get that dried, finished, and framed, varnished and framed, and whatever else I'm going to do with it pretty quickly. Nice. So it's a bit more of a production line where. I love using oils, but I get impatient, waiting a long time for drying. So yeah, it tends to be acrylics, and I've been doing more kind of digital art as well. So I've a Surface Pro. I used to have a nice Wacom tablet as well, but these days I use a Surface Pro with a stylus as well. In fact, that's what I used to. That's what I used actually. I used a tablet to do digital art when I illustrated a book during the pandemic as well, which was good fun.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because there was two authors writing a business book. They'd seen some of my artwork on Instagram and approached me saying, "Well, would I illustrate a book that they're doing?" They wanted a bit more of a quirky, cartoony, humorous edge rather than just like a dry, formal textbook. So we worked together. I did about 35 different illustrations for like chapter headings and things like that, and
cool.
Just had a few little jokes in the mix and things, and that was all tablet based with a stylus. But yeah, really enjoyed that. More time for that would be cool.
That's amazing. So how did you get, is art something you studied when you were younger, or is it just something you've always done? How did you, I'm really fascinated by this now. Probably more so than I need to be, but I'm really interested.
No. This is cool. Yeah, no, I can see some brilliant artwork behind you. Actually, I love what you've got up on the board there. That's brilliant.
I love to share a little bit of personality, and that's my son. I've been actively trying to get him to do more things. And the thing that, because he's 6, you kind of, you see sort of line drawings, but I love the evolution of it. Like just because it's an element of him learning life. It's not even just his ability to be better in art. It's actually him translating what he's seen in the world into something that is appearing there. So, I mean, this one, I love this one. This is So that
Oh, I love that. Is that a bowl of cereal or some food
that is
or?
a keyboard because this is me.
Oh, of course it
So
is.
this
Yeah,
is
that's brilliant.
this is how my son sees me. And I mean, I'm both flattered and scared at the same time. But so you got the keyboard there. That little line in the middle is the mic because I'm always on calls. I've got a
Oh,
headset
that's
on.
cool.
He's got my beard. He's got a little tongue because he likes drawing tongues. Um, it's just this was one of the first
I
pictures
love
that he
it.
did where I was just like, he's actually taken something he's seen and he's distilled it into a cartoon that is exactly what he sees. I love that. And that to me is
That is
that's
brilliant.
the power of art. I think is that distillation, an idea into something like that. So yes, how did you get into it?
Yeah, no, well, he's very talented. I do love the work actually. That's brilliant. But yeah, thanks for showing it as well. I think the same, yeah, as you see it grow. So the short version is art was my favorite subject at
Right.
school by a long, long way as well. It was something I just enjoyed. I've always drawn and scribbled and doodled since I was young, and it's something that I've always done outside of school, outside of work. I've always kept the hobby going. It's that cliche of the thing you would do if you weren't getting paid
Yeah.
for it. And it's always something I've enjoyed doing. Try different mediums. We talked about oils. I did watercolors for a while, but yeah, acrylics kind of been like a for some reason a good fit, or charcoal as well. Various different things for charcoal. Um, so for some reason, it's always just been this creative, expressive thing I can do. There's still some problem solving involved sometimes, but it's not of the same level. Maybe using a different part of the brain, but it's always something that I've just always taken to and maybe reached a level where I could illustrate the book and do other things because I put the time in, and it's the time in the practice has got me to where the level I used to be at anyway, not anymore. But even now, I think if I take an hour and I've not done anything for a few months, and I take an hour and get the brushes out, and it's awful, it's really bad. At least I've enjoyed the process, and I actually don't get too frustrated of, oh, why is this not top drawer level? Why is this not
Hmm.
good? It's like, oh, it's because you've not done anything for 6 months, but I've enjoyed
Yeah.
it. So it's always been an enjoyable thing, and I think it's always made me like a presence of mind. I've been mindful when I've not intentionally of, oh, what mindful thing can I do? I think I've always had that effect where nothing else matters. It's blocked everything else
Yeah.
out, and I've got that flow state, and I've just enjoyed it.
It's really interesting. I think it's very important for people to have hobbies and things outside of what it is they generally do for a living, unless it is that what you do for a living is something that you actually love that much. But let's be honest, what we do, I don't think there's that many people that are going to go and say that's what I want to do in my spare time constantly as well. But I have
Yeah,
known a number of people that are quite creative and do other things. So they can have different outlets. I mean, for yourself with the arts, certainly Chris, when I was talking to him last week, he's very much into art. He's been doing spray paint canvases and all sorts of things like
yeah.
that. Music is another one.
Really getting into it. He keeps posting new pictures, and they're just like you can see the evolution of his
Yeah,
spray paints.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, what nozzles you using, Chris? What do you got there?
I have no
Yes.
doubt he's the kind of person that he'll throw himself so much into it that he will get good at it because that's just the way he is. He'll get to a certain level and then probably get bored and move on. We'll see.
Yeah, become an expert in something else. He's such a talented guy, isn't he? And he's, a good friend, and we used to work together actually in my
Ah,
previous
nice.
job. We were at the same company there, and yeah, Chris has been, yeah, just an inspiration. He's another one of those really positive
Yeah.
members of the community who's just like there to help people, and he's a great guy. So, but yeah, as you say, I love what he's doing. How about yourself, Reese? What do you enjoy outside of the day job?
So a lot of my time's spending time with Oscar playing games. Funnily enough, we play the Xbox together, Minecraft. That's my creative outlet is creating things in Minecraft.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, play computer games quite a lot in the evening. I find that I just enjoy sort of zoning out to that. But also football. I go and play football. I mean, I'll play as many days that I can play it pretty much. So when my wife's not working, I got 5 games I can play in a week. But
Oh,
generally
nice.
two to three a week I'm playing. So that's for me, it's a good way
Yeah.
to just get away from the desk, get some exercise in. And I find it interesting because I don't think of it as exercise. And I think this is one of the things when it comes to fitness, you need to keep fitness up, especially as we all age and start to deteriorate. It's useful to keep that. So you have to find something that you actually enjoy that you don't think of as exercise. I once went to a spin class, and it was torture. From the very first 5 minutes, I was just staring at the clock, constantly going, "When is this finishing?" And it was only a half-hour class. I hated it. Never again. Whereas football, it's an hour long, and I mean, I get to the hour, I'm like, "Oh, we've done already." Ah,
Yeah, could have gone for another half an hour. Yeah.
yeah. So
I was
that's
laughing.
my thing.
That's awesome, though. I was laughing because I did the same thing. I went to one spin class with a friend. He's like, "Oh, it's amazing. You've got to do this." And I had the exact same experience where I was clock watching too much. I get
Yeah,
restless. My attention span kept making me drag it out. But as you say, when I play football, I used to play basketball and a few other things. It's actually a fun game, and
yeah,
I'm not thinking I'm doing a workout. But at the end of it, I know I've done a workout, right?
yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, yeah.
do you I know we live not too far apart. Do you play in Edinburgh, or is it somewhere more local to you?
Yeah, so I play a number of different because there's a few groups that I'm a part of. So one that's further afield is the World of Football over Granton
Side
way.
Hill.
So
Oh,
Granton. So I
Granton,
played at
yeah,
the Site Hill one in the past, but no, Granton's the one I go to. So for me, it's not it's the other side of Edinburgh for where I am,
sure.
but it's easy enough to get to, and it's just the guys I play with in that one. I love playing that game because it's actually it's a group of guys that have been playing together for I think 30, 35 years now.
Oh, brilliant.
And a number of them are retired. But it's just good fun. It's just a good
Yeah.
bunch of guys, and so I like to play that one. The other two that I play in actually are local. One of which is even at the school that my son's at, which is great. So
Oh,
that's a Sunday morning game that we play, and that's just nice fives. So we play out there. So that was good fun.
oh,
Um,
that's really handy. I was checking. I used to play at Site Hill, so I thought I'd just check on the just in case it was there. But yeah, Granton. Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, it's good. I've not played for a little while, but I used to enjoy fives as well. Yeah, it's good fun.
yeah, it's good. It's good with the lads as well. You kind of just it's good to kind of just meet up with other people outside of your world and just sort of take yourself out for a bit. Um,
Mm.
but with that said, we have come to an end. That is us at time. But the last thing that I like to do is my rapid fire questions. So we're just going to spend a few minutes on that. First
Okay.
thing that comes to mind. Uh, the thing that I find with this is quite interesting is I've been I've been trying to think, should I do this at the beginning? Because if I do this at the beginning, then there's some topics to talk about. But actually, I quite like
Oh.
leaving it at the end because it leaves it hanging. So I've had, out of all of the ones so far, there's always been something where I've been like, huh, well, that's something different. We definitely need to talk more about that. So
If
that's why I
I
like.
casually drop in that, oh, I used to be an astronaut, by the way. Right, bye, folks. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, that's
Exactly. That's
yeah.
what I'm looking for. Definitely want that. Uh, all right, let's fire straight into it. So, first one, favorite Power Platform service.
For me, I'd have to say Canvas apps. It's where I started, and my background as a pro dev, staring at the blank canvas when you start any app, it was just a natural fit
Cool.
for the code skills I have. So yeah, I'd say Canvas apps.
Nice. Favorite conference.
Oh, picking a favorite. I'm going to get in so much trouble. See if I don't speak at any next year, bar one. You'll know it's because they've listened to this, right?
It's all right. They're not listening to this. You're fine.
um, I do. There's so many good ones. Honestly, there is. But I think really the Power Platform Community Conference that's been in Las Vegas the last few years. I attended a couple. I was lucky enough to speak at the one last year in Vegas, and I've actually got two sessions at the upcoming one in Vegas in October this year. For me, it's where a lot of big announcements gets made. A lot of the community can make it, so you get to catch up with more people. It's one of my favorites.
Nice.
I'll call it that.
That's definitely a big one. Nice. Cool. Last music you can remember listening to.
Oh, that's a good one. I was just listening to just before this a synthwave band called LeBrock. Yeah, I've kind of been listening to them quite a lot recently, and other synthwave, which I sometimes do when I work. So yeah, I'd say LeBrock. They're really cool.
Very nice. Cool. Not heard of them. I'll have to look into it. Podcasts or TV?
Um, I would say podcasts. I do get through a lot. I do enjoy both, but podcasts I do listen to a lot. And when I used to commute more into the Scottish borders, actually, it took me like an hour there, an hour back. I used to get through loads of podcasts, but I still do now when I'm cooking or
Yeah.
cleaning or whatever I'm doing. It's a background thing. So yeah,
I
podcasts.
have headphones in my pocket at all times because I literally pop in here and it constantly to listen. But also, so I don't commute because I work from home. But when I go to that Granton game, because it takes a while to get there, I
Uh,
get through a couple of podcasts. So that's my podcast time quite often. If you had 2 hours with no other responsibility, what would you do?
because I'm a fan of the show, I do know this question, and I still go back and forth. Because I remember the one with Chris that you had last time as well was a
Mhm.
good one. Um, yeah, 2 hours. This is going to seem really dull, but actually to sit and watch a film, just put a movie on, just chill out and watch it. It's very rare that I make 2 hours to kind of just zone out and do nothing. I'm kind of always on the go and a bit restless as well, to be honest. So yeah, probably put a film on and just chill
That's one
out.
of my favorite things to do, especially because my son goes to bed between 7:30 and 8. I've just read him a story at that point, and usually at that point, between 8 and 9, is when I'll do something that I want to do for myself, whether it's play a game, learn something, watch something. Sometimes I just want to zone out a bit, and so what I'll do is I'll just go straight to bed. I'll put on a movie, and it'll be a Jason Statham movie or something like that. Just something that I just
Nice.
enjoy. Uh, Although by the time I've watched something like that, I feel a bit wired.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm thinking of like some of the high octane action films there, get you buzzing, but you don't need to focus too much as well. So that's
You know
cool.
what you're getting. Uh,
Yeah.
Books or audiobooks?
I'd say I've been going through a lot of audiobooks recently just because, again, like the podcast, I can kind of multitask with them and absorb them. And so many really good ones out there that are read by the authors
Mm,
themselves. So they've got the full feel and the full impact that they're probably trying to convey as well. So I'd say
yeah.
audiobooks.
I love audiobooks. I especially love it when the author actually reads it, especially like autobiographies or anything like that. It's good when they read it. I listened to Jimmy Carr's one, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
really interesting. He's a really interesting guy, and there's a lot of good stories in that. But it was actually quite difficult to listen to in some ways because of his delivery, because he's a joker. Every sentence is
Yeah.
a joke, so it's punctuated with a joke, and it was actually quite off-putting at times, even though the story was really interesting. Yeah, no, that's anyway. Audiobooks.
Ah, I'll have to give that a listen. I heard he had quite the career before he became a comedian, and I've got one downloaded now by Jerry Seinfeld, one of his books. So that's Is This a Thing? I think it's called. So that's the next one on my list
Nice.
anyway.
All right, glass half empty or half full?
Always half full.
I thought that might be the case. I've yet to have someone say half empty yet. Someone did say no glass. I think that was Keith.
Oh, did he? Oh,
But
come on, Keith. Yeah,
there is no glass. It's
it's
like the Matrix. There is no spoon.
quite meta, isn't it? Yeah, I see. It's just a concept in your mind. But yeah,
That's exactly
okay,
it.
cool.
All right, Keith, this has been fantastic. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really enjoyed this, and yeah, I look forward to catching up with you again very soon.
Yeah, me too. I really enjoyed it. Thanks so much, Reese. It's been a pleasure.